The creation process behind anything is always strange. There's no set way to do anything, and most of the time you're floundering in ideas and constant changes. It's not an exact science. There's no specifications or hex color codes given to you to pull from, so it's about figuring things out as you go. It's not like engineering where you have an exact plan laid out for you. But luckily, today I'm working on a commission. Today, I was asked to create a bust with flat coloring of Springtrap from the game Five Nights at Freddy's 3. I'm actually quite excited about this one. I've been a big fan of the franchise, and this is my favorite character design from it by far. I've been planning to draw Springtrap for quite a while now, so this was the perfect excuse. Now, every artist is different with their own process of creation, but I'm going to take you through my own. My personal choice of drawing program is Photoshop. I launch my document as 11 by 11 inches to give me plenty of space to work with, and a 300 dpi resolution. I also set my background to be a little bit lighter than mid-tone gray, so I'm not staring at a white screen all day and burning out my eyes. Because I'll be drawing a character that already exists, my first task is to look up reference material, and I start with the official game models. I personally avoid any fan art just so I can get the basic grasp of what the character is supposed to look like on its own from the original source, and to avoid accidentally taking assets created by other artists in belief that it's part of the original. Next, I'll gently sketch out different ideas for poses. Going in with any character, it's very important to know their personality and potentially even the backstory of the character. This can help you capture the mood and the style. It wouldn't make much sense to give a very angry pose and dark undertones for a character whose main trait is being happy and jolly unless intended. Now, the reason why I'm creating multiple different sketches is to give the client options to choose from. Once they've picked out a sketch they like, I'll take it into the next phase and fine-tune the details with preliminary outlining. And here's where we run into a little bit of design continuity errors. This is one of the creative choices that I was talking about that you have to make on the fly. I found it to be odd that in the older models, Springtrap had a single black button on his chest, whereas his direct counterpart, Fredbear, had a bow tie. I looked up the official comics to see what the undamaged suit was supposed to look like, and sure enough, he sported a bright red bow tie. So I met in the middle and gave him a black bow tie. Because the comics came out much later than the game that Springtrap debuted in, I assumed it was a change later down the line by the creator. The reason why I didn't stick to red is because I didn't want it to draw away from the main focus, his eyes. Now, even when a client requests something simple like flat coloring, I always make it a point to make the eyes the most striking thing. It's the first thing the viewer looks at and helps decide the mood of the piece. Now, the most important part of the drawing process would be the intermission breaks. I don't do them quite as often as I should enough, which is actually quite common. But you should be drinking a lot of water, standing up often, and giving your eyes a break from the screen, especially stretching your arm, which is very important to help alleviate or prevent carpal tunnel. Now that all of the mental work has been set into place, the rest of it is just busy work and finishing what you've laid out. This is the longest process by far, but it helps go by a lot faster when you have music or something to watch in the background. Learning to draw on the computer is a very slow process because you really do have to split your mind into two. It's very multitask heavy, and as I'm drawing with one hand, my other hand is placed on the keyboard, diligently ready to make fast-paced decisions to keep up with my drawing. This is because it's much easier to press Ctrl-Z to undo or B for brush than to manually scout it out in the program and clicking on it. You must keep in mind that you'll be using these buttons quite excessively and for every second that you're drawing. What you end up with is a fine waltz between your mind and your body, keeping rhythm with your eyes. And that's it. Here's the image we ended up with the transparent background and shipped off to the client.
The fear of the shit love for people that are idolized, hideous and different and coming out of sight. So here's a little tip so you can see where I see it. The old dogs, old tricks, triple N mentality. Nobody trying to link with you, you're wasting your breath. But if you can't join them, you can always beat them to death. You got it? You get like a hero, but we getting kind of weird cause no one really knows if we just play it always serious. Fuck the way they cheer at us, stemming from the fear of us. Still keep it down right delirious. Also, spaced out, chasing down the next